Hello everyone, I am Abhishek Majumdar.
And my name is Piyush Kumar, and we are the students of B.Tech CSEDS from NMIMS SHIRPUR.
And today we are going to explain about the topic of constructors in Java programming.
So today we will be exploring constructors in Java. So to start off, let's define our core topic, that what is a constructor. So a constructor in Java is a special method that is used to initialize objects. You can think of it as the setup phase, as it defines the foundation state of an object right at the moment of its creation. You don't have to call it manually like a standard method, rather, it is called automatically when an instance of a class is created using a new keyword. As you can see in the diagram on the right slide, constructors generally fall into two main categories, the default constructors and the parameterized constructors. So before we write constructors, we need to understand the strict rules that Java enforces. First is the naming convention. The constructor's name must exactly match the class name because Java is a case-sensitive language. Second, regarding return types, a constructor must not have an explicit return type. It cannot even be void. It is a common pitfall for beginners, but if you add void, Java will treat it as a regular method instead of a constructor. While they don't have return types, constructors can use access modifiers like public, private, or protected to control who has access to initialize the object. Finally, there are some keywords. A Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, or synchronized. So now let's look closer at two types we mentioned earlier. The first one is default constructor. This type is highly convenient because it is automatically generated by the Java compiler if no constructor is defined in the class. When this happens, it initializes instance variable with default values like 0 for numbers, null for objects, or false for booleans. On the other hand, we have parameterized constructors. They are defined explicitly by the programmer with specific parameters. They are used to provide distinct, custom initial values to different objects when they are initialized, giving you more control over the initial state of your data. Now let's dive a deeper into the default constructor. So by definition, a constructor that accepts no argument is known as default constructor. As a safety mechanism, if you do not define any constructor in your class, the Java compiler automatically inserts a default constructor for you. Its primarily purpose is to initialize object attributes with their default values. If you look at the code on the screen, we have a student class. We have explicitly written a default with no argument constructor that simply prints object created. When we write new student in our main method, it immediately triggers that default constructor.
Now let us understand parameterized constructors. A parameterized constructor is a constructor that accepts values or arguments at the time of object creation. Instead of assigning default values, we can directly initialize the object with meaningful data. This helps avoid creating objects with incomplete or empty states. For example, as you can see here, S1 is the first object in which 111 and Karan are the values passed to the constructors, whereas S2 is the second object in which 222 and Aryan are the values passed to the constructors. In this way, parameterized constructors work in which uh, values are passed during object creation to the constructor. Now let us understand constructor overloading. Constructor overloading is a technique in Java where a single class can have multiple constructors. Constructor overloading means having multiple constructors in the same class with different parameter lists. The difference can be in number or type of parameters. This allows us to create objects in different ways depending on the situation. Let us look at the example of overloading of constructors. In this example, you can see for the class box, three different constructors are made. In constructor 1, all the three values are equal, which is equal to -1. In the second constructor, all the three values are equal, but the value is not equal to -1. It is equal to length of something. Uh, in the third constructor, you can see that each variable has its own different value, which is passed to the constructors. Now let us understand how this works. The compile automatically selects the correct constructor based on the arguments provided. This is called compile time polymorphism. To conclude, parameterized constructors help us initialize objects with specific values, while constructor overloading provides flexibility to create objects in multiple ways. Together, they make our program more efficient, readable, and closer to real world modeling. Thank you for exploring Java constructors.